I can't write in Warren Buffett's exact voice, but here is an original script in a plain-spoken value-first investor tone. The chains that keep people poor are often wrapped like gifts. Most people do not spend their way into joy. They spend their way out of freedom. Every careless dollar is a vote against the life you say you want. Rich people are not only careful about what they buy, they are fierce about what they refuse. If you have ever worked hard, earned money, and still felt your future slipping through your hands, stay with me. Would you subscribe only if you are ready to stop feeding the habits that keep you small? Because this is not just about money. It is about finally becoming stronger than your impulses. Most people think wealthy people win because they know secret stocks, secret deals, or secret tax tricks. They are wrong. Wealth is not a secret club. It is a filter. And if you do not understand the filter, money can pass through your life for 20 years and leave you with almost nothing to show for it. I want you to picture an old gold miner standing in a river. He holds a simple screen in both hands while muddy water rushes past him. The river carries dirt, pebbles, sticks, trash, and once in a while, a tiny piece of gold. If the screen is weak, the gold falls through with the mud, and the river takes everything. I call this the wealth filter. Your income is not enough by itself. Your raise is not enough. Your side hustle is not enough. If your filter is weak, more money only means more chances to lose more money. Now think about the world you live in. Every app is built to make spending feel easy. Every ad is built to make your life feel incomplete. Every monthly payment is designed to look small, so you stop asking what it becomes after 1 year, 3 years, or 10 years. That is why I want to take the shame off your shoulders. If you have felt careless, messy, weak, or behind, I want you to hear me clearly. A huge part of this system is designed to break your filter before you even know you have one. It trains you to confuse pleasure with progress and comfort with success. Do you see it now? Why do stores want one-click checkout? Why do lenders love the words easy approval? Why do companies hide the total cost behind a smiling little monthly number? Because a person who pauses is dangerous to them. I know you are tired. I know you have said, this month will be different. I know you have watched money arrive and disappear so fast that it almost felt unreal. That does not mean you are hopeless. It means you have been standing in a very dirty river, and the river never sleeps. It pulls on your ego, your fear, your loneliness, your boredom, your need to belong, and your dream of looking successful before you actually become secure. That is why this topic matters so much. You are not just learning how to save money. You are learning how to stop being manipulated. The good news is simple. A weak filter can be repaired, a damaged filter can be strengthened, and once your filter gets strong, even an ordinary income starts to act very differently. Small gold begins to stay in your hands. In this conversation, I'm going to show you 7 things wealthy people almost never spend money on. We are going to name each leak, expose why it feels so normal, and turn it into a rule you can use in real life. By the time we are done, you will not just feel inspired, you will know what to stop, what to guard, and what to build. Now we enter the first trap. I call this the applause bill. This is the money people spend so strangers will think they are doing well, even when their real life is quietly falling apart. It is one of the most expensive lies in the world. I have seen this happen again and again. Jack gets a raise and feels proud for about 2 days. Then he notices the watches, the shoes, the new car, the nicer neighborhood, the better seats, the stronger image. Soon the raise is gone, but the need to keep up is still eating. Mike gets the same raise. He drives the same car for 3 more years, keeps his clothes simple, and moves the extra money into savings and investing before he has time to show it off. Jack gets more attention. Mike gets more options. 10 years later, only one of them owns his time. This trap works because human beings are social. We want approval. We want proof that we matter. We want people to look at us and think we are winning. But if your spending is built for other people's eyes, your future pays the bill for someone else's opinion. Thomas Stanley, in The Millionaire Next Door, showed that many real millionaires live far below what most people expect. They often drive used cars, live in normal neighborhoods, and wear ordinary clothes. That shocks people because most people think wealth should look loud. Real wealth often looks calm. The average person sees a luxury logo and thinks respect. The wealthy person sees the same logo and asks what future freedom just died to pay for that little symbol. The average person buys image. The wealthy person buys breathing room. That one difference changes everything. Let me make this painful for a moment. A $700 designer item is not just $700. If that money could have grown for years, the real cost is far bigger. And if you bought it mainly to feel taller in front of people who are too busy worrying about themselves to study you anyway, then the cost is almost tragic. This is where people get trapped by lifestyle inflation. The moment income goes up, spending rushes to catch it. A better job becomes a better lease. A better lease becomes better furniture. Better furniture becomes better restaurants, better vacations, better friends to impress, and better excuses for why you still have no peace. Here is what I want you to do. For the next 30 days, do not buy one thing whose main job is to impress another person. Before every non-essential purchase, ask one hard question. Would I still want this if nobody ever saw it? That question will save you more money than any coupon ever will. Then go one step further. Take the monthly payment on your most image-based expense and rename it. Do not call it a car payment or a wardrobe upgrade. Call it what it really is. Call it the freedom you gave away this month. If you are paying $600 a month for a car that mostly feeds your image, that is not $600. That is $7,200 a year that could have built a cash buffer, erased debt, or bought ownership in productive assets. Wealthy people do not spend heavily on applause. Applause does not compound. And here is the darkest part. Image spending never says thank you. It always wants more. Once you build your identity around what people see, you have to keep feeding the costume. And costumes are expensive, very expensive. I want you to remember this. The crowd will never save you. The crowd will never invest for you. The crowd will never pay your bills when hard times come. So stop spending like the crowd is your banker. Now we enter the second trap. I call this the debt drain. This is the money wealthy people refuse to surrender to interest, late fees, rollover balances, and all the little punishments that come from borrowing peace today and paying pain tomorrow. Sarah tells herself she is just using the card to get through the month. She buys groceries, covers one repair, says yes to one weekend out, and promises she will catch up soon. Then the statement comes. She pays the minimum. Next month she is still carrying the last month, and now life adds fresh weight on top. Lisa has problems too. Her car still breaks. Her bills still arrive. Her child still gets sick at the wrong time. But she keeps one small emergency buffer, puts every due date on auto pay, and refuses to carry a balance unless the situation is truly serious, because she knows one hard month is survivable. A life chained to interest is not. This trap works because delay feels gentle. Pain today feels sharp. Pain next month feels foggy. So the mind reaches for delay and calls it relief. That is why debt is so seductive. It lets you rent comfort for one night and buy anxiety for 1 year. Researchers at MIT Sloan found that people are often willing to spend more when using credit because the pain of payment feels weaker. That matters more than most people think. When the pain is hidden, judgment gets lazy. And when judgment gets lazy, lenders get rich. The average person sees a monthly payment and asks, "Can I survive this right now?" The wealthy person sees the full price with interest and asks, "Why would I volunteer to make this item cost more than the sticker already says?" The average person rents the present. The wealthy person protects the future. Late fees are especially cruel because they are money paid for disorder. Nothing useful comes home with a late fee. No warm coat, no better tool, no meal, no memory. Just a penalty for letting chaos stay in charge. And I know what some people feel here. Shame, heavy shame, because interest and fees can make you feel foolish. But I do not want you sitting in shame. I want you sitting in truth. Truth builds plans. Shame builds hiding. Researchers at Princeton found that financial stress can drag down clear thinking in a powerful way. That means the pressure you feel when money gets tight can make it harder to make good money choices. So if you have made bad choices under pressure, do not confuse that with your identity. Pressure distorts judgment. That is why systems matter. Take 1 hour this week and make your debt map. Write every balance, every rate, every minimum payment, and every due date on one page. Not 5 apps, not memory, one page. You're not doing this to feel bad. You're doing it to stop being blind. Then build 3 simple defenses. Put every bill on auto pay for at least the minimum. Cut card use to 0 for 30 days unless it is a true emergency. And build a starter cash buffer of $1,000, even if you do it $50 at a time. After that, attack the highest interest balance first with every extra dollar you can find. Sell what you do not use. Work 1 extra shift. Pause eating out. Skip the impulse buys. Every dollar sent to high interest debt earns a return equal to the rate you erased. Some people want complicated solutions. I do not. I want effective ones. The wealthy almost never spend money on interest or late fees because they understand one brutal truth. Borrowed comfort is one of the costliest habits on earth. And once you stop bleeding money to the past, you begin to see the next leak more clearly. Because not all bad spending comes from ego. A lot of it comes from pain. Quiet pain. Before we go further, have you ever felt like you were earning money with one hand and leaking it with the other? Have you ever paid a fee, looked at the number, and thought, I worked hard for that, and now it is just gone? If that feeling is sitting in your chest right now, would you write the word awake in the comments? And if this is helping you name things you have been living through for years, would you subscribe and stay with me? Now we enter the third trap. I call this the numb purchase. This is the money people spend not because they need something, but because they need relief. They are tired, lonely, bored, angry, hurt, or disappointed. And spending gives them a tiny shot of comfort that fades almost as soon as the charge goes through. Tom has a rough day at work. His boss embarrasses him. Traffic is ugly. Dinner is not planned. By the time he gets home, he does not want to think. So he orders expensive delivery, buys a gadget online, and tells himself he deserves something nice. Ben has rough days too. He gets frustrated. He feels ignored. He gets tired of carrying responsibility. But he has learned a different rule. When emotion rises, his wallet closes. He keeps a simple list on his phone called "Not Today." Whenever he wants to buy something unplanned, he writes it there and waits. The next morning, half the items already look silly. 2 days later, most of them are forgotten. That is not deprivation. That is recovery. This trap is rooted in the brain. Quick pleasure changes your state fast, and the brain loves speed. A bag of takeout, a late-night order, a new toy, an upgrade button, all of it whispers the same lie. This will make you feel better. For a moment, it does. Dr. Anna Lemke in Dopamine Nation explains how repeated quick rewards train us to crave more and feel less satisfied over time. That means the more often you use spending to soothe pain, the more your mind learns to ask for spending whenever discomfort shows up. You are not solving the pain. You are teaching it where the store is. The average person says, "I had a hard day, so I earned this." The wealthy person says, "I had a hard day, which means this is the worst time to trust my impulses." The average person buys mood. The wealthy person protects tomorrow. That one difference changes a year. Let me say something very directly to you. A bad day should not be allowed to invoice your future. A lonely night should not get your debit card. A stressful week should not turn into a financial setback that follows you for months. Pain is real, but not every answer deserves your money. Have you noticed the pattern? Why does spending look wise at night and foolish in the morning? Why does boredom feel expensive? Why do so many people call themselves impulsive when the truth is they are simply emotionally unguarded? Because nobody taught them that emotion changes judgment. I know you are tired. I know you have tried to be strong. And I know there are days when spending feels like the one fast door out of your own mind. But fast relief is not the same as healing. Sometimes it is just pain wearing perfume. So here is the prescription. Create a 24-hour pause for anything unplanned under $100 and a 72-hour pause for anything over that. No exceptions for bad moods. No exceptions for sale countdowns. No exceptions for the sentence, "I work hard, therefore I deserve it." Next, build a free comfort list. Write 10 things that calm you down and cost little or nothing. A walk after dark, tea in silence, a shower, 10 push-ups, a call with one honest friend, writing what you feel for 5 minutes instead of shopping for 5 minutes, then use friction. Delete saved cards from your apps. Take shopping apps off the front screen of your phone. Stop browsing when you're bored. Do not carry your wallet into the house and keep scrolling as if temptation were a hobby. James Clear teaches that environment shapes behavior more than willpower alone. He is right. And here is one more rule. Never let food delivery become your stress language. I am not saying never order food. I am saying do not turn hunger, exhaustion, and poor planning into a 4 times a week bill. Wealthy people rarely spend money on repeated emotional relief because they know relief without discipline becomes a trap. A purchase made in peace feels very different from a purchase made in pain. Learn to know the difference. It may save your future. And if you think tiny leaks do not matter, the next trap will wake you up fast. Now we enter the 4th trap. I call this the silent leak. This is the money people spend on things they forgot, things they barely use, and things that looked harmless because the amount seemed small. It includes dead subscriptions, duplicate services, unused memberships, and little auto-pays that quietly chew through a year. Emily signs up for everything. One streaming service becomes 3. One music app becomes 2 because she forgot the old one. Then there is cloud storage, a meditation app, a fitness app she stopped opening, premium delivery, a news app, a software trial she never canceled, and a monthly box that arrives with things she barely touches. None of it feels huge. Together it becomes ridiculous. Nora uses fewer services. She keeps the ones she actually touches each week and kills the rest. Every month she checks her statements line by line with a pen. Not because she enjoys it, because she understands one truth poor people learn too late. Small leaks sink big ships. Behavioral economist Richard Thaler built much of his work around the simple fact that human beings do not treat money logically. We split it into mental boxes and ignore repeated small costs because they do not feel dramatic. That is why 10 tiny charges can survive for a year, while one large charge gets our full attention in 1 second. The average person sees $12 and thinks that is nothing. The wealthy person sees $12 every month and thinks $144 every year for something I barely use. The average person looks at the size of the payment. The wealthy person looks at the lifetime of the habit. I have watched people argue for hours about a cheaper gas station, then ignore 3 subscriptions they never use. That is not thrift. That is blindness. They spend effort where the number feels visible and ignore the places where money leaves quietly because quiet feels safe. Quiet is where many people get robbed. This is not only about services. It is also about clutter purchases, the drawer full of chargers, the box of old gadgets, the exercise machine used 5 times, the kitchen tool bought in hope and abandoned in reality. All of it came from the same lie. This little thing will change my life. Let me tell you what wealthy people understand. If an item does not earn its keep, it becomes a tenant in your house and a thief in your cash flow. You pay for it once when you buy it. Then you pay again in storage, attention, guilt, and the illusion that owning a tool is the same as using it. It is not. I want you to do a full leak sweep this week. Take your bank statement and your card statement from the last 60 days. Use 3 marks. Keep, question, kill. If you have not used it in 30 days and it is not essential, it goes into the question or kill group immediately. Then set 1 monthly money date with yourself. Same chair, same notebook, same pen. You are going to look for silent leaks before they become loud regrets. A person who avoids their numbers is volunteering to be surprised by them. And there is one more part of this trap that hurts people deeply: hope spending. That is when you buy the course, the tool, the program, the app, the planner, the organizer, the miracle device. Not because you have a system for using it, but because owning it lets you pretend change is already underway. Hope spending is sneaky because it wears the mask of self-improvement. Do not confuse buying the piano with learning to play. Do not confuse buying the camera with becoming a creator. Do not confuse buying the planner with becoming disciplined. Wealthy people almost never spend money on unused promises. They spend on things with a clear job. When you cut the silent leaks, you do not feel richer at first. You feel cleaner, then calmer, then stronger, and then something amazing happens. You start to trust yourself again. Can you feel how much damage small, repeated money mistakes can do when nobody calls them mistakes? How many forgotten charges are still feeding on your future while you are busy working for fresh money? If this is opening your eyes in a way nothing else has, would you subscribe before we walk into the last trap? Because the final leak is where cheap, exciting, and clever looking turns into costly. Now we enter the 5th trap. I call this the foggy bargain. This section holds 2 of the most dangerous things wealthy people avoid. They almost never spend money on things they do not understand, and they almost never keep buying low-quality junk that must be replaced again and again. One trap steals through confusion. The other steals through false savings. Eric hears about a hot trend from a cousin, a podcast, and 3 loud people online. Everyone says it is the future. Everyone says he is early. He does not understand how it works, how it makes money, or what risk he is truly taking, but he hates the feeling of being left behind, so he jumps. Maria hears the same noise. She asks simple questions. What does it do? How does it earn? What could make it fail? If she cannot explain it to a child with plain words, she passes. She would rather miss one exciting thing than marry one foolish thing. Peter Lynch once said that people should never invest in an idea they cannot illustrate with a crayon. That is funny, but it is also wise. Confusion is expensive. The average person sees motion and thinks opportunity. The wealthy person sees confusion and thinks danger. If you do not understand the game, you are probably the prize. This pattern shows up outside investing too. People buy business programs they will not use, tools they do not need, tech they cannot set up, and packages full of features they will never touch. Why? Because complexity feels powerful. It makes people feel they are buying something advanced, but advanced is not the same as useful. Now, the second half of this trap, cheap junk. Ryan buys the cheapest shoes, the cheapest pan, the cheapest chair, the cheapest suitcase, the cheapest tools, and the cheapest phone case. Every purchase feels smart for one day. Then things tear, wobble, crack, fail, and force him to buy again. He keeps spending because he keeps pretending the first price was the real price. David buys fewer things. But when he buys, he asks a better question. How long will this serve me? If the answer is years, he is willing to pay more once, so he does not keep paying again. His house is not fuller than Ryan's. His life is smoother. Benjamin Franklin is often credited with a hard truth people keep relearning. The bitterness of poor quality remains long after the sweetness of low price is forgotten. The average person sees the lower number and feels relief. The wealthy person divides the cost by years of use, number of uses, and the amount of peace it brings. This does not mean you should buy the most expensive thing. That is another trap. I am not teaching you to worship price. I am teaching you to respect value. A well-made coat worn for 5 winters is cheaper than 3 flimsy coats bought in panic every year. The same rule applies to mattresses, shoes, tires, tools, cookware, office chairs, and anything that touches your body often or supports your work often. If you use it a lot, quality matters. If it protects your health, quality matters. If replacing it creates stress, quality matters. Wealthy people do not brag about bargains that keep breaking. So here's the prescription. Use the 2-sentence test and the cost per use test. If you cannot explain what something is, how it helps, and why you need it in 2 simple sentences, do not buy it. If the cost per use is bad, do not pretend the sticker price is a win. For example, a $200 pair of work shoes worn 4 days a week for 2 years may cost less per use than a $60 pair replaced 3 times. A solid pan used 500 times is cheaper than 3 bad pans that peel and warp. A stable, low-cost index fund you understand is better than a trendy gamble you cannot explain, but hope will rescue you. Hope is not a method. And if a seller tries to rush you, be even slower. If they say this deal ends tonight, sleep on it. If they say everybody's buying it, ask what everybody knows that you can verify. If they cannot make the value simple, you should make your answer simple. No, do not spend to look informed. Do not spend to feel early. Do not spend to save pennies and lose dollars. Wealthy people almost never pay for fog and almost never keep repurchasing fragility. Clarity and durability are far cheaper in the long run. But seeing the traps is not the same as escaping them. Because the hardest moment is not when you are alone with your wallet. The hardest moment is when other people want a vote. Here is the great filter, the moment where most people break. Not because they lack knowledge, not because they are bad with numbers. They break because temptation is loud, loneliness is real, and social pressure can feel stronger than logic when you're tired and want to belong. Picture a Friday night after a hard week. You have finally started changing. You said no to the fancy upgrade. You canceled the dead subscriptions. You packed food from home. You started paying down debt. And then the messages come in. Come out with us. Do not be boring. You work hard. You deserve it. Why are you acting different? Why are you so cheap now? Why are you making money such a big deal? This is the crab bucket effect. When one crab tries to climb out, the others pull it back down. People do this too, not always because they hate you. Often because your discipline shines a light on choices they do not want to face in themselves. And that hurts, especially when the pressure comes from people you love. Family, friends, co-workers. The very people who say they want the best for you can become uncomfortable when your new rules expose their old habits. Your growth can sound like judgment even when you never say a word. This is the moment where many people fold. They say yes to the trip, yes to the dinner, yes to the bottle service, yes to the useless exchange of money for image and belonging. Then they come home with a lighter wallet and a heavier heart because deep down they know they did not buy fun. They bought re-entry into a crowd. So protect yourself before the moment arrives. Pre-decide your answers. Keep them short and calm. I am on a plan right now. I am building something. I am sitting this one out. No speeches, no debates, no apology. Move your money before your emotions get a turn. Set the transfer on payday. Set the bill payments ahead of time. If your cash is already directed toward your future, the pressure of the moment has less room to hijack it. Discipline works best when it starts before the test begins. Then change the room when needed. If every social event in your life asks you to betray your own goals, your problem is not only spending, it is environment. Find one person, just one, who respects your future more than your performance. That person can help hold the line when you feel weak. And let me tell you something hard but freeing. Some people only like the version of you that stays financially available for their habits. When you change, they feel loss. That is not proof you are doing something wrong. Sometimes it is proof you are finally doing something right. So when the jokes come, let them come. When the eye rolls come, let them come. When the pressure rises in your chest, breathe and remember what is actually happening. You are not being punished. You are being tested, and passing this test can change your life. Now let me leave you with a clear escape plan, not a fantasy, not a motivational poster. A real map with real steps that can move you from leaking money to keeping it, from reacting to choosing, and from surviving to building. Stage 1 is called See the River. You will do this within the next 7 days. Write down every dollar you spend for one full week, every coffee, every app, every fee, every bite of takeout, every tap of the card. Then mark each one with one of 4 words: need, useful, ego, or escape. This first step matters because you cannot defend what you refuse to see. Do not soften the truth. Do not rename nonsense. If you bought something to impress, call it ego. If you bought something to soothe a bad mood, call it escape. Honesty is where the filter begins to heal. At the end of that week, make your 7-item list: status spending, interest, late fees, mood purchases. Unused subscriptions, things you do not understand. Cheap junk you will have to replace. Circle the ones that keep showing up and write the annual cost beside each one. Stage 2 is called Seal the Leaks. This is your next 90 days. Cancel at least 3 recurring charges in the next 48 hours. Put every bill on autopay for the minimum. Create a 24-hour pause for unplanned buys and a 72-hour pause for larger ones. Then choose one money leak to cut so hard that your life actually feels different. You might stop ordering delivery on weekdays. You might stop shopping for image. You might stop buying random trend products. You might stop carrying a balance. The point is not to do everything perfectly. The point is to build proof. You need evidence that you can trust yourself. During these 90 days, move money money automatically on payday. Even 10% matters. Even 5% matters if that is where you must begin. Build your first $1,000 in emergency cash if you do not have it. If you already have that, start sending more toward debt or simple investing that you understand. Stage 3 is called Build the Engine. This is your 1 to 3 year vision. Your goal is not to look rich. Your goal is to become hard to knock over. That means 3 to 6 months of living expenses in cash, automatic monthly investing, and at least one growing asset or income stream that is not tied only to your next hour of labor. Use numbers, not wishes. Increase your saving rate by 1% every quarter until it reaches a level that changes your life. Read for 15 minutes a day about money, business, and human behavior. Review your spending once a month and your progress once a quarter. Tiny reviews prevent giant regrets. If you keep doing these things, your life begins to feel different in ways nobody can see at first. You sleep better, you panic less. You stop needing every paycheck to save you. Then one day you notice something beautiful. You are no longer easy to manipulate. Think about everything we uncovered. The applause bill that turns insecurity into purchases, the debt drain that taxes disorder, the numb purchase that sells comfort at a terrible price, the silent leak that feeds on neglect, and the foggy bargain that hides behind confusion and false savings. Inside those traps were the 7 things wealthy people almost never spend money on. And now you can see them for what they are. Come back to the river with me one last time. At the beginning, you may have felt like the water was too strong, the mud too thick, and your hands too weak to hold on to anything that mattered. Now you have a filter with names, rules, and habits behind it. That means the river can keep rushing and you can still keep the gold. Wealth begins when your no becomes more powerful than your impulse. I want you to carry that sentence with you today. Not tomorrow, not next month, today. You do not need a new identity, a perfect past, or a lucky break to begin. You need one honest decision, then another, then another. Protect your future before the world spends it for you. Trust slow progress. Guard your filter. That is all. Thank you for watching.